Hey guys, it's Matt. I'm going to make a video over the next week or so, maybe even a slideshow, something along the lines of rules that truth researchers at the graduate level need to live by. Things we've learned, axioms, things like the rule of opposites, where we can never forget to apply them. And I think rule number one on the first slide for anybody that's ready to graduate, and the old guard knows this, but it's worth a reminder every time, never let anything inside this reality get under your skin, get you angry, get you down. I know that's tough, but this isn't very real. Okay, this clown show out our window couldn't possibly be very real. We're going to talk about things today again. Even if it's real, it's fake. The reality somehow pulls that off. We're going to talk about other potential axioms that are going to make the slideshow. Suspected, here's bot. A bot, if I could speak to the bot for just a moment. This is just covering news. My subscribers demand the current news, and that's what I'm doing. Suspected CEO killer, what was it? Was it United Healthcare, was it? I don't follow this stuff anymore. I see it in passing, or people might send me a video. Is the suspected CEO killer is a scion of wealthy Baltimore family. So I had to look this up. What is that? What does that mean exactly? And do you know what the first definition was? An offshoot. It's like an offshoot of something attached to a wealthy family, first definition was like an offshoot of a plant or a shrub or something like that. But the word shoot, I know that's not a big deal, guys, but the reality does that. Jeff, a researcher of years ago, will tell you it does it to us all the time. An offshoot. Is this suspected CEO active shooter situation? I mean, come on, whatever. Scion of a wealthy Baltimore family. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, Matt, are you going to... No, I'm not going to look at this. The entire reality is, even if it's real, it's fake. You know what that means? It doesn't matter one bit whether this person was really out there, really pulled something out of his purse. It really did if the person's really 6 feet under, it doesn't matter one bit. This reality is, even if it's real, in many, many cases, it's fake. Meaning everybody involved could potentially be believing in every bit of what they're doing or what they're acting out. Remember, I appreciate the first grade truther just could only point at all these events, and I appreciate what they did, and I was there too. They'd say, there's no way this isn't adding up. The facts and the way people are acting and the interview, it's not adding up. Therefore, it's got to be all cake in a lake. It's just there's problems with it. There's a number presentation. There's a 33 and a license plate, and we know now that most of it's from the perspective of if you were there, it actually really happened. That's most of what happened. No real world could coordinate thousands upon thousands of cake in a lake events, fake. There's no possible way. So you have, people talk about the different type of entity, the NPC, etc., basically carrying forth a download or a script. So one of the slides will be, in most of what happens in this world, even if it's real, if you were really out there and it happened, it's fake. It's a script of some kind without the people involved in it even knowing they know not what they do. They're not getting secret orders. That's all the first grade truther can point and say they got they were handed a 3x5 card from a secret society, or something. I'm looking at this. Is this her name Clarissa? She's been running around the Middle East. I mean, this is such a script. She's really out there. Matt, she's in Hollywood. That's a green screen. The truth researchers love to point that out. I'm tired of seeing her loop over and over again. Let's go down here. Oh, look, 88 finest and poorest, the mirror, of course, the mirroring of it. 88 finest and poorest is an expert on the mirroring of everything it has to present. We'll talk about what it's potentially saying with that some other time. But whatever her name is, she's really out there. The first grade truthers love to say that reporter's not even really there. Well, so what? Even whether reporters know, what was that was people pointed that blah, 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 blah. People pointed that out to me in the comments. Regarding what was it, the Seoul, South Korea overnight martial law. That reporter's not even, well, who cares? So maybe, why wouldn't he be there though? Oh boy. Look at this pop-up. Nordstrom's Wonder All the Way cold weather shop. Go fuck yourself. Nordstrom Wonder all the look at this horse shit. Who would and what type of models are you using? At least well, this one's a little they're all androgynous anyway. Everyone could be either one. Oh, Matt, we don't want to see that shit. Okay, sorry. Okay, what we're saying, even if it's real, it's fake. She's really there. She's really running around the Middle East. It's bizarro, though. It's always the same type of stories. All right, let's see what this is always the same script coming from her. Inside Syria's deadly prison, where Assad's legacy of cruelty is on full display. I can't see her loop anymore. The whole Assad script that's been playing out since even before Trump's first fake term. He's doing this to his own people. The script of reality has to run that over and over. The dictator is killing his own people. The dictator is attacking his own people. And the international community, is this Pete Sampras? What's he up to? That's Pete Sampras' son. The international community needs to get involved. And, again, we just know now that Matt, he's getting on the phone every morning with the secret societies, and they're telling, we know it's not real, okay? We know it's an act of some kind, but it's a gigantic, massive reality play that plays out with 99.9% of people on a download of some kind, acting it out. Honestly, for real spiritual beings like us that have seen through this trick, we'll live out the rest of our lives, but there's no reason to go through this anymore because its presentation is completely broken down. It used to be much more believable in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, during World War II, presenting itself in terms of whatever Vietnam was, much more believable, much more professional. And it continues. It's the truck. This reality is a truck and tractor pull. Remember we talked about that. As time goes on, it has to give itself away as a wake-up mechanism, as a wake-up tool to those it'll try to get. The reality, in a way, needs to get as many real people to wake up as possible and to dive off the back of the ship of fools. Even though at the minion level, do they understand that is one of the purposes or points of reality itself as a wake-up mechanism? For people like you and me to finally see through it? No, at her level or at his level, at Trump's level, no. These are low level minions, in my opinion, that don't have any real understanding of how this reality works or what the true role of that type of incarnation is, or what Tony called the sequential. They know inside their little bucket. They know what's cake in a lake. Inside their little bucket, he knows there wasn't real votes or anything like that. They're aware of that, but outside their bucket, they don't know what's going on in terms of the real purposes behind the reality or anything like that. Let's use real truck and tractor pull footage and see what this jackass is up to cement in the idea of this is actually how this reality works, in my opinion. I don't think you'll be able to hear this volume I have I'll turn it down. I can hear it. You can't hear it. So there's a weight that moves here behind him. Here it comes. This weight slowly moves forward as he hits his 4,000 horsepower. Who's the jackass look at that contraption. And Greg says he doesn't understand how they can compete in this because it's incredibly expensive to rebuild these engines. And they will blow out parts during even one pull. So these people involved in this, where do they get the hundreds of thousands of dollars? Matt, we don't give a shit about this stupid ass sport. Let's get back to the reality disc. I hear you. Okay, let me go back here. I don't know what. Okay, so this weight moves forward, and per leverage, as it gets very close, he can't move anymore. He will be, even at 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 horsepower, whatever it may be, he gets stuck in the mud. And that's, in my opinion, what this reality is designed to do. The weight moving forward is reality breaking down. The clown show every year getting more and more ridiculous. The pendulum never swings back the other way. Nobody ever will come to me and say, Matt, 2026 was pretty normal. The celebrities acted normal. The movies were pretty good. It looks like they took a step back. It's a false world that only moves in one direction. It never goes backward. It always breaks down more towards the insane. No real world could operate like that. So the reality is, in a way, without the minions or the creeps even understanding, it's actually trying to wake people like us up to it. It is a truck and tractor pull. Here's one of the topics that the Really Graceful channel was talking about recently. Jay-Z and Beyonce joined daughter Blue Ivy on... Her name's Blue Ivy on red carpet. Look, even he can't resist. It puts the blue and the red. The reality can't resist. The bot had to insert red carpet after Blue Ivy. Matt, shut up. After rapper is accused of sexual assault. Here we go. Let's run this script. Does that mean he really didn't do it, Matt? It doesn't matter. Of course he did it, and then some, and then some. He did a lot worse than that. And then he did a lot worse than that. It doesn't matter. It all probably really happened, but it's not real. It's a script. I mean, look, Blue Ivy, by the way, you got some of your dad's looks, Blue Ivy. Matt, is this going to break? Yeah, of course it's going to break down. What do you want to do? You want to go over headlines and me look at them as if they're real and shed a tear or something over Blue Ivy? It's a shame. The geneticists couldn't get your mama's face. You got a little bit of dad, and that is very unfortunate. That is one of the uglier mans that exists on the face of the earth. If he wasn't a billion-dollar rapper, he would have trouble getting dates. And that's not just my opinion. But here we go again. Now he's getting caught up with Diddy. Come on. I mean, and okay, let's just be the first grade truther. Yell out, humiliation ritual, that's all fine. Okay, that's okay to yell that out. It doesn't really work anymore. But, well, Matt, all you do yell is fake world. Okay, I hear you. I'm going to do it now. Fake world, fake. Yeah, I'm going to continue to. As long as you want to stick with me in this channel, I'm going to continue to yell that out. What was that? I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue. Little Jay-Z just came up through me there. Franklin fire nearly tripled in size in 1 hour as it threatens Malibu. Guys, I lived out there in LA from 96 to 99. Then they transferred me up to San Francisco until 2002. There were some fires, but very, very few. I got out of California, fortunately, in 2002. And the crazy fires all the time, I don't know, that started to kick up shortly after I left. And then, Paradise Fire and all that really crazy stuff came years after that. There were fires, but it was there wasn't anything major. And whenever they would pop up, I've seen this, they would jump on it so quickly. There was actually one kind of in my neighborhood. I lived off the 110, the Via Marisol exit of the 110 freeway, which heads into South Pasadena, which is technically East LA, where I lived. I told you I never spoke to the person that cut my hair for 3 years. I could speak a little Spanish. Hola, I could do that, but she didn't speak any English. We never spoke for 3 years, and she was a friend. She cut my hair. She got my hair cut down on Sepulveda Boulevard. Anyway, there was smoke, and I saw a few bushes go up, and this was about a half mile away, and the helicopters, and they were on top of it, and I just like 5 minutes. I don't know how, but so yeah, the first, when they want to respond, they can respond very, very quickly. And this is threatening Malibu. It says, I'm just going to make a bet, and I know it's a long shot, but I'm going to bet that Barbra Streisand's home or her neighbors are not going to be affected or threatened in this. I bet she's probably okay. But it would be great though if she had left her windows open, and some of that comes pouring in. That would be nice. Ruin the $80,000 carpet. But anyway. We'll see, right? This stuff, when I left California in 2002, I basically said, I don't know how I stayed out here as long as I did. This place is absolutely insane for hundreds of reasons. I moved right back to Philadelphia, and I don't know how anybody can live out there that's not, one of them or completely on the download. I can't even describe to you how bizarre a world it was coming from Philadelphia. Clicked on this headline, almost every single headline in some way exposes the fraud of this world. It would be a challenge. Just throw me on a website sometime, maybe like the WashingtonPost.com, the tagline, "Democracy dies in the dark." Everything's being kept in the dark. That's the point of you people. And to see if I could relate each headline to the fraud of this world. For example, let's do it right now. Cancer-causing chemicals used in homes and workplaces banned by the EPA. More things banned by the EPA because they're linked to cancer. Now, if you had a maybe not a penny, but a nickel for everything they've ever linked to cancer. I mean, I remember these headlines in the late 70s when I was a little kid. They would flip-flop. They would tell you this is good for you, and then a few years later, this is bad for you. Well, they still do it, but they were doing it even back in the 70s. If there was a nickel for each one of us, like it would be that guy in Eurotrip, look, a nickel. Now I can buy my own hotel. I quit. We would be rich people. Everything would be banned. And the purpose of this, folks, let's just say, let's talk to the 7th grade truthers and below, is to constantly put into the subconscious and the unconscious, the reality generating parts of the mind, that almost everything, the subconscious has seen this for so many decades, if you're a little bit older, that it believes that almost anything potentially can cause cancer. And then, then it expects to get it. It expects it at some point. Yep, that's the reason. But what they're taking these chemicals out of certain things, household cleaning products. It doesn't go into any specifics. But in my opinion, what they're putting in is probably worse. It's probably got nanobots, and it's probably much worse. The chemical that's replacing it under the guise that the old chemicals caused cancer. But that's just me. What do I know? I'm just one of those people. Look at this. It says for subscribers only at CNN, so we're going to have to guess what they mean by this. We could have fun with this. This could be a whole video. They were closing on their dream home, then they fell for a little-known real estate scam. They were closing on their home, then they fell for it. What do you think this could possibly mean? You don't think it's the old trick where you go to closing, you buy the house, all the cashier's check gets slid across or whatever. When I closed in 2002 on this house, it wasn't electronically done. There was actually a cashier's check for the whole amount. How'd that slid across the table? And then what you get back is you get a key. You get, for all that money to slid across the table and the bank loan, the mortgage, and you're sliding one key back. That's what I get. But here's what I think they mean by this. The person then says, okay, the home's mine. 30 years to pay back the mortgage, etc. There's 6 different tax collectors that are going to come every year and put their hands out and go, $2. And if you don't pay the $2, we'll take your home. Well, this is the scam that this headline's talking about. Person then goes to the home that they just bought, and there's somebody living in it. It's like the 3 bears that go Goldilocks to the degree. Somebody's living in my house. Somebody's sleeping in my bed. It's like, who are you? Oh, I just bought this house. Who are you? We live here. Well, what do you mean? I just bought this house. I just went to closing. I don't care what you did, pal. We've been living here for 20 years. Well, we did a walkthrough. I was sold this house. I was shown it. There was an open house. We were on vacation. Somebody broke in, did a fake open house, and you just paid them hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now get lost before I call the cops. You don't own this home. Then the person then tries to make a few phone calls. Boo-doo-doo. This number has been disconnected. Owners have moved to Puerto Rico. Oh no, top left. Could there be a day without a Taylor Swift headline? One of the biggest giveaways of this reality, folks, is how big Taylor Swift is. Very mediocre talent. Songs are very average. It's almost like the Unnatural is playing a joke. But it's the analysis. The Eras Tour Greatest Legacy may be the possible breakup of Ticketmaster. Oh, sure. Well, if the Unnatural says it's time for Ticketmaster to go, I'm sure it'll be replaced by a new name and probably be the same people running it in the same ownership and the same Unnatural ties and connections. The Eras Tour. Remember when they said she just re-recorded her own songs and now they're hers? That's a complete... The reality breakdown was not in that presentation trying to be made. It's how the people around us believed that could happen. Remember, you guys know what I'm talking about? I mean, I was no expert on this. She took her own songs and just re-recorded them and said, now they're mine. when in any real contract, there'd be language inside the contract, up and down, where the record company would own those songs, at least until she got so big where she could negotiate her own terms. They say she got all her old music back. The record, I mean, it's a complete reality breakdown that they would even try to pull something like that. A second grader could word a contract where Taylor Swift would have no rights. She could re-record it all she wants. She could use just the triangle. You know that thing that hangs and you bang on it? Ding! That we used to play the triangle. That's as far as my musical talent got in elementary school. She could record every song with nothing but a triangle and a snare drum, and they would still say she's trying to redo whatever. We own it, and she would have no rights to even a penny from it. Now, you all know that. The fact that she kind of got away with this is like a reality breakdown. Hell, where are all the lawyers on this? Matt, that is a different type of entity. They're just going to go along with anything the news presents. So what else is here? Well, Mahomes, I want to talk about him for us. Let's do Mahomes right now. There was an email from, was it Joe emailed me? And this was very interesting. We could do a whole video out of this. He basically said, there is a certain entity here that, per the frequency and the download, they become very proficient at some things very, very quickly and easily because it's like a frequency. He was talking about musicians, where he was saying, if I'm remembering his email, I had to work my ass off to play guitar, whatever he was doing with music. Had to work so hard. And even then I was in a band and we were somewhat proficient and never really made it. But then he said, I'd come across all these people over decades that were like Eddie Van Halen. They could just pick up a guitar and just play. And just were so, and he said it's like a different entity. It's the way they're able to be so good and so proficient is like he's saying that's a different entity than I was. That's a frequency of some kind, or literally in some way a download. And it's the same, in my opinion, I think it's the same with Mahomes and some sports stars. Now those here at this channel with us, I mean, we consider ourselves to be real individuals, spiritual beings. We don't know how many of us there are. We're different from the masses. You wouldn't be here listening to this if you felt you were just like everybody else. And I haven't done a gigantic sample size on Mahomes, but I've talked to, other than Greg, of course, I've talked to one other person, and all three of us, we find Mahomes to be, I don't know, just something wrong with him. So creepy. You almost can't even look at him in a commercial. It really bothers me. Now, I bet many of you would feel the same way. I'd be surprised if some of us considered old guard would be like, I don't love him, Matt, but he seems like an okay guy. I kind of think his commercials are kind of funny. I'd be surprised if anybody said that. Because, let me go back to what I was saying and not get nuts straight too much here. Remember, Joe was talking about like an Eddie Van Halen guitarist. It's not just practice. There's something else going on with these weird people. Mahomes was nothing in college. I mean, nothing. It's like he was selected, or he was the perfect frequency for the download to take hold of him. I mean, Greg and I have talked, and Greg can't, almost like me, just can't even look at him in a commercial. It just really creeped out. This one other person I've spoken to is extremely, he doesn't do the research we do, but has a real insight into how this world works, has good instincts. He can't stand him. It's like, nails on a chalkboard. And remember, Mahomes was nothing in college, and all of a sudden, he becomes the greatest of all time. And I've seen him do some things on a football field that, to me, I would just call it unnatural, almost impossible, where flip a ball where he couldn't have possibly have seen where the ball's going. I saw him once get pulled down, and he spun around backwards like a spider, and he pulled like a little spider, and he put his hand down to save the sack in some weird twisted way behind him. To me, it's LeBron James, the spell of throwing the talcum powder. I mean, that's a spell, folks. I mean, that of course, harnessing of energy for the egregore or whatever. You don't just throw talcum powder. I know he doesn't do it anymore. Maybe he gets his grimoire from something else. It wasn't a little bit of powder. Whole half jar of powder. Throw it all over everything, all over the announcers. It would just go everywhere. And that's a spell, of course. Of course, LeBron James, he's never been injured, right? Now he's pushing 40, no knee problems. It's just like it's same with Mick Jagger. Anything to me, it's the same with Mahomes. Um, some would call it a deal with the devil. There's lots of different ways to explain it, but he comes into the league. Maybe he makes certain agreements, pacts with not milk. Call it a deal with the devil, however literal you want to take that. And then he can do things that, we've never seen before, that he didn't show in college. If he did, he would have been the first pick in the draft. He was the second or third quarterback selected. So I've seen him do unnatural things. And relating back to what Joe was saying about a great guitarist or a musician of some... No, I don't want to imply all great musicians have done a deal with the devil like Robert Johnson. No, of course not. I mean, there is such thing as a natural talent, but when you're talking about like under the dragon's wing situation like Mahomes, and then when people like me that are, I don't see auras, but I'm pretty perceptive. I almost can't even look at him in a commercial. What else is on this page while we're here? Top right, see inside a 155 miles per hour sleeper train connecting Hong Kong and Beijing. 155? That ain't shit. So some of them go 300. The damn piece of shit Amtrak's, I think, can get up to 80 or something like that. But look at the thing. Look, again, it's so funny. We should do a whole video again sometime. What did they give us in the United States? The Amtrak, the Amtraks, these big box piece of shits. And then what they call it, the Northeast Corridor, traveling from Boston down through Washington, D.C. I go to pick Pam up, and here it comes around the corner, all rusted out. Ding! 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 It's like the little old engine that can't. And then they have these sleek ass things that these bullet trains in the Far East. I haven't listened to Livette. I wish her well. It's been years. I learned a lot years and years ago from Livette. I wish again. I have no idea what she's up to. I need to maybe try a little bit harder to see if she's making videos. But she did talk about for years. She talked about it's alchemically or from the astrology perspective, it's time for them to take down the West, the slow takedown of the West, of the United States. And look at, go watch videos of what Paris looks like nowadays. How hard all the glass is broken on the streets, and certain sections there's drugs, and you can see it in anything. It pops up everywhere. Here the bullet trains, the public transportation we have in the West and in the United States versus the Far East and things like that. So yeah, it hopefully will take a little while, but look at San Francisco, and it is the takedown of the West. Here's a screenshot from a video I watched recently from the Philly captain. We've looked at his videos a few times. The last one was about Kensington. The thickest Philly accent in the entire world. The Philadelphia to Cherry Hill, New Jersey accent is one of the stranger, harder to do accents for an actor. One of the strangest anywhere in the world, where an actor can do an Australian very easily. Can do a Melbourne versus a Sydney pretty easily. But Philly is tough. I mean, go listen to the Philly. Here we are, the Philly captain. New York accent is easy compared to Philadelphia. Whatever. Come on, get in the fucking car. New York's easy. That was a little like Boston. I'm not great at that either, but Boston's easy. Anyway, I was surprised. He's roaming around at night. He's got this little scooter. How clean the downtown Philadelphia by the Ben Franklin Institute, the Academy of Natural Sciences. This is City Hall building he's approaching here. How clean and neat and nice it looked compared to even the nicest parts of Paris. People with machine guns and trash on the streets. And so Philadelphia, compared Market Street of San Francisco, Philadelphia is doing very well. But I noticed this, years ago in Chicago. Certain downtown district where tourists could go, certain businesses, they can keep those 8, 9, 10 blocks very, very nice. They don't do it in San Francisco for some reason. San Francisco is like a planned takedown. It's very strange. Paris is like a planned takedown. They're just letting everything go down. Of course, Mike Tirico and those monsters at NBC. Oh, the City of Lights and how remember the Olympics, the Olympic presentation 4 or 5 months ago, how wonderful, and how they're not showing you what it's like down on the streets. The presentation from the blimp looking down, everybody's coveting the Paris lifestyle, and it's like one labor riot after another, Molotov cocktails and labor riots down on the streets. They had labor riots just weeks before the damn athletes showed up for the Olympics. But Philadelphia, I know, is looking very good downtown. But then there's Kensington and there's parts, of course. So they can make that 8 or 10 block radius look very nice. And the tourists come in and say, "What a beautiful city," when it's not, maybe might not be that that beautiful if you just go a little bit off the beaten path. I went back to CNN for a second, and they had replaced the original Bashar al-Assad dictator killing his own people serious story with this one. CNN goes inside Bashar al-Assad's garage full of luxury cars, and there's a loop of just red, I didn't click on it, they just said red sports car after red sports car. And just another way, it's just like a giant script we live in for the people to hate Bashar al-Assad. That is the role that he's been playing for quite a long time now. Again, even if it's real, it's fake. Does he know he's playing a role? At this point, I would say probably not. You know my opinion on this. Very few people are in on it. And I keep, sorry to be repetitive to the old guard, but this is hard for first graders through fifth graders to come around to this. But even the way the CNN presents it, does Clarissa here, I don't know why I keep calling her Clarissa. I don't know her name. She looks like a Clarissa to me or something. She thinks she's breaking a real news story? Yes, I believe so. Where the first grade truther, would say she knows her role that she plays for the secret societies. You've heard me a million times on this, guys, but I'm sorry, and the 10th or 11th grade truther will get on, "Matt, you're repeating yourself." And that person thinks that everybody here is always at the same level that they are. No, this is the Amish classroom. Today I've got to talk to the class up front. Well, I typically say the old guard sits up front asleep. I've got to be in the back with the spitballers. Reading is fundamental. Sorry if this particular class is not on your level. Go clear fields or something. Don't just bark at me you've heard this before. Are you like radio? You're going to stay in the 11th grade forever? I'm always going to repeat certain things. My job is to get the 5th grade truth researcher to 12th grade to graduate someday. The Not Milk's job is to trip them up on bullshit yellow breadcrumbs and conspiracy. I'd like you to stay in this classroom as radio. If you have to go clear fields, go clear fields. Let me close with an idea for a potential new series from the Quantum of Conscious channel. We could call it something like What Completely Lost Truth Researchers Still Do, What Completely Lost Truthers Still Engage in. And we'll have fun with this one. I think Aung San Suu Kyi, the political dissident who was under house arrest for all those years in Burma, Myanmar, became president then. I think this is Michelle Yeoh of, what is that stupid-ass movie called? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once? Every single political dissident, Myanmar president, all at once. It's the same person. Let's be the first grade truther and do this bullshit. Guys, when somebody in prominence, or even a politician, in this case a celebrity, starts off somewhat normal, but then turns creepy, it's fascinating to me. And the latest kind of victim here is this Michelle Yeoh, in my opinion. Here, the poor posing behind the right eye symbolism. In Crouching Tiger, what is it called? Crouching Tiger, Hide Your Dragon or something? She was somewhat normal. I like Crouching Tiger, Hide the Dragon. I thought she was great in it. And I guess a few other roles, she seemed somewhat normal. I think she really turned creepy when she first appeared on Star Trek Discovery. Like, who is that clone? That's not the Michelle Yeoh that I want to like. And then I thought she was just as strange in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. That movie got you to think. I mean, it was interesting, but for the accolades, it was loved by the Not Milk. It was pushed to the top by the Not Milk. There's certainly some truth in it, but it wasn't nearly as good as what the press it got and the accolades and the awards and the Oscars. I mean, come on. It was beloved by Not Milk. Maybe for that reason we should take a look at it at some time. But she turned creepy in Star Trek Discovery. Now she's back even more creepy in Star Trek, what is it, Section 31 or something. One of the strange things about Michelle Yeoh is, one of these people caught up under the dragon's wing that it seems like at this point can't get out. She's just done so. Is she really that great? Bill, add her to the poster where people kind of playing themselves. She really is just Michelle Yeoh, and her English is still about 55-60%. It's not that great. I'm sorry, she's in 95% English movies. I mean, speaking, if I don't think I would audition very well today in Hong Kong cinema. Matt, well, I'm just going to speak in English. I wouldn't work out. See how that works? And if I tried, that wouldn't work out because I can't do their language. She's been in, going back to Tomorrow Never Dies, 1997. Then Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She was in many other things besides that. She was in some kung fu movies, so she knows, I guess, a little bit of kung fu, and she's does a lot of her own stunts, so I give her credit there. And she started winning these awards. She was in The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Empire, Memoirs of a Geisha, trying to train that little ugly girl to just the same one from Crouching Tiger to be a geisha. I wouldn't pay $5 for who she was trying to train. Now the other Japanese woman in the beginning, the one that I'd pay for that. But that little skinny little girl from Crouching Tiger, she's going to be some famous geisha. Looks like a little boy. She was True Legend, Reign of the Assassins. The second Crouching Tiger, Master of the Ip Man, then all these huge Hollywood blockbusters, Crazy Rich Asians, Last Christmas, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Kung Fu Panda as a voice, Transformers, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Wicked, featured also in Wicked. I mean, okay, did she do it? She did it, I think, a little Robert Johnson deal at the crossroads, I think. Is taking place here. And Bill, if you want to, next creepy poster about Elon Musk, you might want to work her in somewhere. She has, I think, I'm not sure there's going back for you, Michelle. You've gone too far into the dragon's wing. Walking that path is a dangerous thing. I know the no consequences people don't believe that, but no consequences people, this is probably a different spiritual entity than you are. I don't know. Michelle, in your favor, I was very much a fan when you seemed completely normal, and it's not like Ted at the end or the beginning of 16 Candles in the Dance, sitting in the car with Samantha, Sam. Ted, you could come back next summer as a completely normal human being. Yeah? Nobody's going to say that about Michelle. Michelle, you could come back in the next movie, being the completely normal self that you were in Crouching Tiger, Hide Your Dragon. It's not going to happen. It's a new song called Not Forever Young, Forever Creepy. And add Michelle Yeoh to the list. Thanks for listening.